Violence is the byproduct of silence, that levee that hinders the flood of emotions, but no obstruction can tame the ocean of repressed trauma, that depressed drama that feels misunderstood, that inner discernment between bad and good is washed away. The water leads your mind astray. Embrace the pain, respond with peace, for only then will surges cease. I want to talk about the Will Smith and Chris Rock situation. Now, I know I'm a couple of weeks late on this video. I almost ended my break early just to make this video, but I realized that I had to respect the boundaries that I set with myself. And I want you guys to keep that in mind as you watch this video, because that's going to be a theme throughout the whole video. Okay, respecting the boundaries that you set with yourself. Okay, when you don't respect your own boundaries, that is where events like this can occur. Now, I'm going to keep it real with you guys. When I first watched the video of Will Smith smacking Chris Rock in the face on stage, I thought it was fake. I thought it was either fake or scripted until I saw the whole uncensored video. And then I realized this is not the type of thing that you intentionally put on TV. Okay, because of course a lot of problems could occur with that. Now, whether or not it's scripted or fake doesn't really matter. Things like this occur every single day. Maybe not on this stage, okay, metaphorically and literally, but things like this happen every day. People lose their cool and act out their trauma. They allow their pride to overcome them, and things like this happen. Okay, now they have to pay the price for things that they did in a moment of unconsciousness. Now, with that being said, I am not on either Will Smith or Chris Rock's side. I am approaching this from a place of complete and utter neutrality. I have no biases for nor against either one of these people. Okay, there are two people who have accomplished amazing things in their careers, and I wish nothing but the best for both of them. And I feel like a lot of people, they've utilized this as an opportunity to polarize, okay, to take sides. Will Smith was in the right. No, Chris Rock was in the right. He shouldn't have said that about Will Smith's wife. None of that matters. Okay, you guys have to understand that when you take sides, all you're doing is perpetuating the conflict. You are expanding the issue that created this event in the first place. When you learn to observe events from a place of neutrality, a place of non-judgment, that is where you're able to develop insight about yourself, about people, and about life in general. Now, with that being said, okay, I want to break down what I believe actually occurred on that night. Okay, now, it was very, very apparent to me that Will Smith did not slap Chris Rock because of what Chris Rock said. Okay, I don't think he really truly cared what Chris Rock said. I think that was repressed trauma. That was years worth of him hearing people on the internet talk about his wife in a negative light. And whether you know it or not, that weighs on you. Okay, celebrities or people with platforms, they see the things that you say, especially nowadays in the social media age. They see the things that you're saying, and it does weigh on you after a while. Okay, which is why I find it necessary to take breaks from the platform whenever you can. But for somebody of Will Smith's status, an A-list celebrity, it's not really possible to do that. You can't really isolate yourself from the world like that unless you put your entire life on hold. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind and approach this situation, approach the analysis of this situation from a place of compassion. Okay, in the poem at the beginning of this video, I said, violence is the byproduct of silence, that levee that hinders the flood of emotions, but no obstruction can tame the ocean of repressed trauma. Like I said, Will Smith clearly had a lot of repressed trauma. And I think everybody can agree that when you reach that point that you can no longer afford to hold on to that anger any longer, you lash out on whatever is in front of you. If you're not fully in control of your emotions, if you have not mastered your emotions thoroughly, these are the kinds of things that happen. In a lot of cases, people lose their lives in situations like these. Okay, somebody talks bad about somebody else, that person kills the person who talked bad about them. But they didn't kill them because of what they said. They killed them because they believed what they said, because they had been holding on to this trauma. They had been holding on to these limiting and negative self-perceptions. And that other person simply reflected it back to them, and they couldn't take their reflection. Okay, so you have to understand that for a guy like Will Smith, he is human, believe it or not. Even though most of you have never and will never see him in person, he is human at the end of the day. And he simply acted out of his emotions. He let his emotions get the best of him. It happens. Unfortunately, it happened on one of the biggest stages that you could ever be on, but it happened. And now the situation is over. He can't take that back. But he and everybody watching this can learn from the situation. You can learn to not repress your emotions, okay? Something else that I said in the poem was that depressed drama that feels misunderstood, that inner discernment between bad and good is washed away. Okay, whenever you're in that space of repression, of not allowing your emotions to flow properly, or even consuming, consciously or unconsciously consuming that negativity from outside of yourself, having hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people tell you that your marriage is a failure and that the woman that you love is no good for you and that you're no good for her and that you're a beta, a simp, and things like that. That gets to you. I don't care who you are, that gets to you. Some people do a better job of hiding it. Maybe some people have healthier outlets through which they express that trauma. But ultimately, Will Smith reached his breaking point, and he essentially utilized that opportunity as a means to let go of all of the emotional distress that he had been carrying for all of these years. Okay, like I said, it doesn't matter who you are or what status you're at. You are subject to these same exact rules. If you don't give yourself the chance to embrace and express your emotions, these are the kinds of things that happen. If you don't embrace your emotions, you'll act them out, subconsciously or consciously. Okay, and that's why in the poem I also said the water leads your mind astray. When you allow that flood of emotions to overcome your sense of awareness, your sense of consciousness, and you begin to act unconsciously, you are capable of doing things that you would have never thought possible. Everybody watching this is capable of taking another person's life. Believe it or not, you may think that you're not capable of doing that because right now you're coming from a place of awareness and consciousness. But when your judgment or your discernment is clouded by your emotions, you'd be surprised at what you're capable of. With enough brainwashing, with enough conditioning, with enough negativity and reinforcement of that negativity from hundreds of thousands and millions of people, you're capable of doing some very treacherous things. And I'm no exception to that. Okay, all of these rules apply to everyone. That is why I always preach the importance of emotional mastery. Now, with that being said, I want to personally commend Chris Rock for the way that he handled that situation. Okay, Chris Rock must have a great deal of emotional mastery to have responded the way that he did. Now, like I said, when I first watched the video, I thought it was scripted, I thought it was fake. But upon further inspection, I realized that no, Chris Rock actually got smacked. Okay, he got hit with an open palm in front of thousands and now millions of people. And he didn't react, he responded. You see, when Chris Rock received that open hand slap from Will Smith on that stage, he had two options to choose from. He had the option to protect his pride and the option to protect his peace. And he chose to protect his peace, and I commend him for that. I don't know that I would have responded in that same way. Okay, it's easy for me to say that I would have done what he did, but I don't know. As soon as Will Smith turned his back, I might have put him in the walls of Jericho. Who knows what would have happened? Nobody knows what they would do until they're in that situation. But Chris Rock showed the world that he has mastered his emotions. Now, I'm sure that his ego was hurt from that situation, but at the end of the day, he didn't let that emotional distress overcome him. He protected his peace and not his pride. A lot of lives are lost every single day over pride, especially the lives of young men, and especially the lives of young black men. I'm not going to get into race or anything like that, but if you know, you know. Okay, this is a very prevalent issue in society where people take each other's lives over pride. Imagine if people protected their peace with the same level of ferocity that they did to protect their pride. All wars would come to an end. Okay, we would have world peace. If everybody protected their individual peace the way that Chris Rock did that night, we wouldn't have wars. Okay, and that is why in the poem I said, embrace the pain, respond with peace. for only then will surges cease. The only way to end the cycle of pain is to respond with peace. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. That is a timeless quote. It'll always be true. The only way to stop that cycle of negativity is to respond with peace. Now, I'm not saying that Chris Rock has to be buddy-buddy with Will Smith, but what I'm saying is that if people learn to be more compassionate toward the people who actively seek to inflict emotional and even physical violence upon them, that doesn't mean you shouldn't defend yourself, mind you, but if people learn to be more compassionate towards those people, we can stop the cycle of negativity and thus stop all wars. Okay, and it sounds too good to be true, but it really is that simple. If people take accountability for their own emotions, take accountability for the protection of their own personal peace, and learn to put their pride to the side, the world will be a much happier and more peaceful place.